Hi gorgeous, it's Ker-leen. Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. Today we will be talking about two new Arabian perfumes. These are perfumes that have been making waves on social media, and that is because these fragrances have been likened to a very popular fragrance that we all know and love, and we will talk about that in just a moment. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Hey friend, welcome back. I'm super excited to be hanging with you today and talking about fragrances. If you are new here, welcome. On this channel, I talk luxury, I do review videos, I share my fragrance journey, and I also sprinkle in a little bit of lifestyle. So if any of those things pique your interest, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. This video is going to be more about the way these fragrances smell to my nose and less about performance today. I do still have to play around with these fragrances a bit more, and don't you worry, they will definitely be featured on the channel here in the coming months, especially as we are in fall, so that I can share my experience with these two fragrances more fully, more thoroughly, and more accurately. So today we're first going to talk about Athena by Maison Alhambra, and we're going to compare Athena to my newest Angham by Lattafa. So Angham is the newest fragrance to my collection. I received this not too long ago, and I am super excited to share my thoughts on this fragrance with you all. Angham has top notes of pink pepper, mandarin, and ginger. It has middle notes of praline, cacao, lavender, and jasmine, and it has base notes of vanilla, amber, and musk. So Angham is sweet, it's vanillic, it has a cacao powder, so it's not like a chocolatey scent, it's more of a cacao powder, like a dusting of that powder. And this is slightly and subtly lactonic because it is very creamy. There is a tinge of an aromaticness to this fragrance, but unlike the original, this has a lot less of that lavender. And overall, this is a solid fragrance in terms of the way it smells. Now, Athena we have talked about before on the channel, and Athena has a really strong resemblance to Burberry Goddess, so much so that I previously said this is 90% similar to the OG, and I still feel that way. Even though this one has different notes, I feel like it gets you extremely close to the OG. So this one has top notes of mate, cypress, thyme. It has a greenness to it. There's saffron at the top and fruit. And then it has middle notes of jasmine, orris, and rose, and base notes of amber, leather, vanilla, musk, vetiver, and cedar. So I'm going to go ahead and spray the two of these fragrances on some tester cards, and we'll talk a bit more. So both of the bottles are very nice, and they both have really great atomizers. In my right hand, I have Athena, and in my left hand, I have Angham. Okay, so on paper, Athena is definitely coming across as a little bit more green. They both open up with this freshness, almost this zinginess. But in Athena, on paper, that zinginess is coming across as green as compared to the zinginess of Angham. In Angham, I can definitely tell that there is pink pepper and ginger at the top. Actually, I feel like because I know the notes, I can perceive all three of the top notes in here. I definitely pick up the pink pepper, the ginger, and that orange note. And in Athena, it's a zinkiness that also has this greenness to it. So I don't know if it's the mate or the cypress or the thyme that I'm picking up, but I definitely pick up a freshness and a zinginess and a greenness. So we'll give it another minute or so to see how these start to develop. So it's been about a couple of minutes, and Athena is turning a little bit more vanillic. Something I didn't pick up before because I didn't test these on paper strips before I tested these on my clothing and on my skin. Something I'm picking up now is that there is a fruitiness to Athena as well in that top to mid transition. I definitely am picking up something fruity and sweet. Whereas in Angham, the lavender has settled quite a bit and now it's getting sweet, but it's more like a creamy sweetness as opposed to a fruity sweetness. And now as both of them continue to dry down, they're starting to smell very similar. They're both getting a little bit more sweet. They're both getting fluffy, except that in Athena, the orris note, in my opinion, is much more prominent. And as these two begin to dry down, they get more and more similar. They get more creamy, they get more fluffy, they do get vanillic. I don't know how that's happening in Athena because the notes don't match the scent experience I'm having whatsoever, because the only notes that match what I'm getting in this fragrance are the greenness at the top, the orris at the mid, because I do feel like this has a very prominent orris, and that's sort of where the creaminess and the fluffiness is coming from, and maybe the vanilla and the amber that's at the base of this fragrance. Those are the notes that I feel are most prominent. Those are the notes I feel like my nose is picking up, and those are the notes I feel are more true to the experience I'm having with Athena. Now in Angham, although it does get creamy and fluffy and sweet, I feel like it is much sweeter and the vanilla in here is much deeper than Athena. I also feel like you do still detect that aromatic lavender note as this fragrance starts to dry down, so that is still there. However, that lavender note is much softer and more subtle than the OG. So if you did not like the lavender note in the OG, then I think you will appreciate Angham, because in my opinion, Angham is about 98% similar to the OG. 98% similar. The only detectable difference as of right now is the lavender is much softer in this fragrance. I would also say that ginger, that zinginess, is not quite as bold as in the original. But what Angham does not lack is that vanilla. You still get that deep vanilla absolute in this one. So if you're watching this video and you're trying to make up your mind which one to get, I would say that as compared to the OG, Athena is about 90% similar and Angham is about 98% similar. Athena has more of a greenness to it and it's a little less sweet as compared to Angham. I feel like they totally nailed the vanillic sweetness, the deepness, and the potency of that vanilla absolute in caviar that's in the OG and Angham. Whereas Athena is just a little less sweet. It also has a tinge of a greenness in the opening and it also follows into the mid, but on the dry down, that greenness is barely there. You can barely detect that greenness. Today I also picked up a fruitiness in this one. So in that transition from the top to the mid, I did pick up on the fruity sweetness in here. It's not an overly obvious fruitiness, but I did pick it up when I was concentrating on the notes today. So all that to say, if you are looking for a fragrance that gets you close to Burberry Goddess, I would recommend getting Lattafa's Angham, because this one is 98% similar. But if you already have Athena, I would say use up your Athena, enjoy it, layer it with other scents, and when you are done with your Athena, then you could go ahead and pick up Angham, because this one definitely gets you closer to the OG. All right, friend, so I hope that was helpful, and I hope I was able to give you a little bit of tea if you were wondering about the difference between these two amazing fragrances. I think they are both solid, and like I said, if you already have one over the other, you do not need both, but if you're looking to get as close as possible to the OG, then I would definitely recommend the newest Angham by Lattafa. Thank you so much for still being here. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a like on your way out, because that helps my channel continue to grow and reach other fragrance lovers like us. And also, if you love fragrance content, I make quite a bit of it on the channel, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Before you head out today, I want to ask you something. Why not you? Great things can happen for you too. I know a lot of times we tend to get wrapped up in comparison, but I would challenge you today that instead of giving in and giving way to those feelings, ask yourself, why not me? When you look at those beautiful people that are walking in their purpose and accomplishing great things, look at them for inspiration, and maybe even reach out and ask them some questions about their journey and their walk, because everyone has a story. Their highlight reels should inspire you to want to ask more questions and find out what it took for them to get to where they are, because everyone has a story. Everyone's journey is so different. And when you inquire about those things, you gain context and a reference for just how they were able to accomplish those things. And then you can begin to analyze your own life and see, what am I doing to achieve my goals? And what does my journey look like at this point in time? And so as you begin to ask yourself these things and you begin to work on your own journey and your own goals, you will look up one day and realize, wow, I'm really moving forward. I'm really making some strides because I put the work in, I was consistent, and I believed. That's the biggest thing, is to believe in yourself. So again, I ask you today, why not you? If God can do it for his other children, he can certainly do it for you. I will be over here reflecting on the exact same thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one very soon. Mwah! Bye.